we chatted about this, is because the work you do, especially once the fan has already been hit by stuff, right? The cat's out of the bag. Sometimes that's when people call you. They should have called you before, but they call you then. And they're like, ah. So I'd love for you to share with us some of the things you're seeing within in an organizational setting. The failure has happened, now what? Were you seeing people recover well and respond well, and others where not so much?
Yeah. So my name is Vanessa Vaughn Mathews. I'm the founder and chief resilience officer of Asfalis Advisors. And what we do is we protect what you value. And for some people, it's people. For some, it's your technology. Or for some, it's your assets. If you lose this facility today, how do you continue to operate your organization? So we see a lot on both sides. Some people handle failure very well, and some companies do not. And so I made a little list as you were sitting there talking today, but some things that come to mind for companies that have handled crises well: Starbucks, KFC, and Southwest Airlines. And then actually a company called Gulfstream Aerospace Corporation that I used to work with. And some companies or some groups that have not handled things well: H&M, Boeing, and the Dominican Republic. So I'll speak to one good and one bad. You know, time for more, we can talk more. But when I was working for an aircraft manufacturer in Savannah, a flagship airplane crashed at New Mexico's airport. And 4 of our test pilots and engineers died instantly in that aircraft crash. So the conditions for productive failure were crisis management and preparation. So before that crisis happened, we were able to help them really talk through what are the top 2 or 3 things that would knock you out of business today. Well, if you're an aircraft company, a plane crash is one. And so we kind of went through this list of, well, if this happens, then what would we do? How would we respond? How would we react? Would we pay the employees? Would we pay their families? What would we communicate? Who will communicate? What's the means that we're going to communicate? Because we really want to be empathetic. You know, as I watched some of the explosions from the space shuttles, I thought about, like, if that was my family member in that space shuttle and I was out there in the audience, how would I feel when that happened? And the feeling I got was when I get to the top of a roller coaster and then I have to go down because I decided to sit in this seat. And you ever get that feeling where your pit and your stomach is just like, oh, I didn't make the right choice. That's how we have to think about what people feel in crisis. And so we had those things figured out ahead of time. So when the crisis and the plane crash happened, our CEO went to his war room with his team that was pre-identified, and they were able to walk through their crisis program. So what I think is important is that, different to what's happening with Boeing, this organization had a plan in place. They knew exactly what to do, and it started with empathy and what we're gonna do for our people. People got fired, which I don't necessarily always agree with that, especially when I think about the hashtag #MeToo movement. Like, let's fire them. You touched somebody, let's fire you. But are we really learning from what happened and how do we prevent this from happening again? But essentially, the success story is that that flagship aircraft launched and they did not lose market share. Boeing right now is struggling with how do I keep trust, whether it's an airline or whether it's passengers, right? If I have the choice, do I want to fly 737 MAX or do I want to fly something else? If you're a passenger, you're probably going to look to fly another airline because you don't really trust it yet, right? And so I think that's the difference, is that when companies fail, they're really trying to prove that you can trust them again. And so, you know, you think about that. For those of you who are married, I'm recently married. When my husband does something that frustrates me or vice versa, I have to think about, well, how can we rebuild trust back into this relationship? And the same thing goes for companies. Thinking about something that hasn't necessarily been done well, we received a call from the Minister of Tourism from an international country because they were on the news. If you've seen them recently, a lot of Americans were going over there for vacation and many were dying. Well, who wants to go on vacation and die? We really failed. So you would consistently hear the public relations folks say, it's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. Like, what does that mean? People are dying when they go on vacation. So we had a chance to talk to the head of tourism, and when we got on the phone, I said, well, I just have a question for you. If it was your wife or your daughter, would it still be a non-issue? And so we thought about it. But I think sometimes, you know, in failure, we have to ask the question to help people see it, because as a country, they're like, oh my God, Expedia, you know, pulled out. I'm losing 20 to 30% from the American market. I'm on CNN in America all day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's negativity about our brand and who we are, and I'm feeling it over here. But at the same time, as a company or as an organization, how can we be empathetic towards what other people feel and just take it and own it? So KFC messed up, and they ran out of chicken in the UK and Ireland, which affected like 870 stores. Well, what they did was they changed the words from KFC to FCK. Like, we effed up. And so that's a right, but that's a way for you to kind of own it and not take yourself too seriously, but say it, call it out, and then fix it. So that's what we do.